All right, what is up, guys? I am back again today, and today is this video is the 27th day of the bulk, day number 27. The day I'm recording this, the voiceover for this video is day number 28. So, as of today, I had my, fourth check-in for the off-season. Week 4 is complete. And we are 28 days in now. We are officially a month into my growth phase. Feeling awesome. Feeling awesome. You know, I had a bit of a rough start to this week, in all honesty. You know, I had a couple days where kind of ate off plan a little bit more than I wanted. I have a real bad habit of, when I'm hungry, snacking. And it's something I am perfect with 95% of the time, but every once in a while I have a day or two where it's like I just snack like 300 calories over. And that's kind of what happened to me on Sunday and Monday of this past week, where I just snacked a little bit on some stuff that was around the house and felt really shitty about it. Kind of got in my head about it, and it affected my mental a little bit, but we've bounced back from that. My weight is fine. I'm around 210 right now this week. Put on a lot of weight this week, but honestly, condition is still great. Very productive week overall. And yeah, this session here, day number 27, this hamstring focused leg session, felt really, really good. My app that I used to track my session was having some issues, so I don't actually have an exact time for this session because I didn't track it, but it was, somewhere around an hour and 10 minutes or so. But yeah, getting right into the lying leg curl here. As you guys know by now, rep goal on this is 8 to 12 reps. Took a progression here on the top 2 sets this week. Did 140 for 12, 115 for 12, and then hit 110 for 10 and 8. Progression on the top 2 sets, both in weight and reps. And then the 3rd and 4th set, same weight, and actually one less rep on that 4th set. But because we took progressions on weight and reps on the first 2 sets, I am not beat up about that at all. This felt really good. Super solid today. No complaints here. Not a whole lot more to say about these guys. I am just going to let the rest of the lying leg curls here play out, and then we'll move into the rest of the session. Okay, moving into my warm-ups on my RDL here for the day. I smashed my weight on this. This was a great week for RDLs. I'll get into the weight and the reps in a sec, but I will say, first of all, that I think something that really helped me progress so well on a lot of my movements today was not tracking in my app that I usually use to track my workouts, because I have like set timers turned off so I don't focus on the time, but it has a total session time shown in the app. And I kind of like passively pay attention to that and almost start this like mental set timer. And like I said, something that I have struggled with is giving myself enough rest between sets. And today, obviously I cut my rest periods out, but I feel that I took much longer rest periods between my sets, and it really, really worked out to my benefit, to the point where every set was just significantly more productive than it usually is. So a lot of good progressions today. On the top set here for my RDLs, same weight on the bars last week for this top set, 315, but I hit 11 reps. So I took a 1 rep progression here. Last week was 10, this week is 11. These felt solid. Again, nothing to complain about here. The weight is moving very, very well. It's kind of weird because as I'm doing these, I feel like I'm moving the weight a little slow and maybe not with enough depth. And then I watch these back and I'm like, these are fucking great. So it's a good thing to watch your training back even if you're not uploading it like I do, watch it back and review your training. That is a great way to improve everything about your training. Even if you don't have a coach, kind of looking at mistakes you're making and understand where you can improve is important, even without someone else helping you assess that. So going into the second set of my RDLs here, you'll see I have 315 on the bar still. Last week, my second set was a back off set. I did 315 and 285 last week. And last week I hit 315 for 10 and 285 for 10. This week I said, fuck it, this weight feels good today. So I hit 315 for 11 and then 315 for 10. And that last rep on the second set was a bit of a struggle. But hey, man, we got it done. We got that rep. It was clean. I'm super fucking happy with this. So weight is going to stay the same next week on both sets. Just going to try and get 315 for 12. And hopefully 12 on both sets. But yeah, and then, we'll probably take a weight progression the week after. But yeah, moving into my single leg press now, rep goal 12 to 15. You will notice on my second set here, I set up a little differently. So you can see from this angle kind of better how my foot is positioned. The cue I use on this is to have the little bolt that's kind of on the middle of the sled there, in between my big toe and my, I don't know what you'd call it, my second big toe, like my middle toe, whatever you want to call it. So inside my big toe. And that's a really good position for me to kind of set up for my anatomy and feel productive in. But I wanted to try something on the second set here, where you'll see my foot position slide up a little bit, and I kind of keep my toes over this like break in the sled. And it felt a lot better. I feel like I was actually able to get the depth a little bit better, move a little bit more weight more productively, and felt a little bit better stimulus to the quad. So probably going to stick with that going forward. But on this first set, 160 for 15. Again, the rep goal is 12 to 15. We hit 160 for 15 and then 160 for 13. That was a 10-pound progression from last week. So that was a pretty big progression. Especially considering I'm doing the single leg, 10 pounds is a lot more than what it sounds like, right? It's like adding, 10 pounds on a dumbbell. Well, that ends up being 20 pounds, right? Across your both legs or both arms in the case of a dumbbell. So good progression. Took, I think, a 1 rep decrease on the top set and then matched reps on that back off set or that second set. So with the weight going up 10 pounds and basically hitting all my rep goals perfectly, this feels really good. Probably going to up the weight to 165 next week, just because, again, this foot position that I end up, showing off here in the second set felt really good. So if I go into that on the first set, I think the first set, here this week, if I had that same setup, I would probably have been able to hit like 17, maybe even 18 reps, just because of how good it felt. So, I know at this point I changed my foot placement on this movement. It seems like every fucking week. And that's kind of the name of the game here, is just figuring out little tweaks that make movements work for you. And you'll see here, my depth is good on this. It felt a little better on my knees. I was able to move the weight with a little bit more efficiency and ease. It just felt a lot better. And all I changed was moving my foot up like 2 inches, not even. It's such an amazing thing to see how little changes like that can make these can pay huge dividends in your training, right? So try and play with little things like that. I mean, when you guys first started seeing me do this at the beginning of this push phase, which was just 4 weeks ago, I was offsetting myself off the platform. I had my foot dead center in the middle. It was a little lower, and I've moved a lot of different, or I've tried a lot of different placements in between that time to really see what works best. And I feel like now I'm definitely getting to a point where I'm feeling the stimulus in an optimal way. I'm feeling things as they need to be felt throughout the quad in this movement. And this goes for all of my movements where I make small alterations like this, right? Always try to improve your movements. Always try to improve something. It doesn't have to be weight. It doesn't have to be reps. It doesn't even have to be improving form in the same way, right? You can make little tweaks that make the movement more efficient for you. I wouldn't necessarily change your form or your approach to movements as often as I do. For me, it's just a matter of getting these things dialed in, because at the end of the day, you do want to basically do the same thing week over week, because then you can more linearly linearly measure your progressive increases, right? If you're changing your foot position every week and it effectively becomes a different movement, then that weight progression or that rep progression might not be as meaningful, and it might not be even, something that you can really quantify. So keep that in mind, but again, play with things until they work for you. And now, with the single leg press out of the way, we are going to move into the adductor work for the day, the adduction machine here. Not a whole lot to say about these. I think I, kind of say the same thing every week here, just trying to get a good stretch, trying to really focus on how this feels and not focus too much on the weight. It might sound weird, but I've been closing my eyes on these because it helps me kind of like just feel more connected with the movement when I'm not watching it. It's just weird. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it kind of works for me in a weird way. So starting out here with 170, and I actually took a regression on this movement this week on the top set. So rep goal was 10 to 15. Last week I hit 170 for 15. This week I hit 170 for 14. So not as much here on the top set, but on my back off sets, I did make a little bit of progress. I hit 130 for 15 and 130 for 10 on my second and third sets here today. Last week, I think it was 130 for 14 and 130 for 10. So not too bad. Pretty much a wash this week. I don't really want to say we progressed a ton here. Again, there was progress on one set, but not really on the other. So this is fine. You're not going to progress everything every week. You have to keep that in mind. And I'm not always trying to progress every movement every week. I mean, let me rephrase that. I'm trying, but I have the expectation set that I don't need to progress that every week. There's going to be weeks where, like, if we take big progressions on like my single leg press, which I just did before this, my legs are a little more fatigued. So we might not take that progression here. So that is perfectly fine. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the adductor work. There's, again, not much more to this. So I will let this last set play out, and then we will get into the toe press. All right, moving into the toe press calf raise for the day. This felt awesome. This was actually probably the first week that this movement really clicked with me and felt perfect. The only thing I really changed here was I moved my feet a little bit further up on the pad so that I'm not pressing so much with my toes, which sounds counterintuitive because it's a toe press, but I'm almost using like my midfoot to kind of press and do the actual kind of calf raise movement that you're seeing here. It doesn't really change the range of motion at all. It actually just felt a lot better for me. So I think I'm going to start doing that going forward. Took a 10-pound increase here, 420 pounds for the first set, and then 420 on the second set as well. 23 reps, 420 for 13 on the first set, 420 for 15 on the second set. So that was 1 rep or maybe even 2 reps over what I got on my top end last week and a weight increase. And then on my second set, that was 2 reps more and a weight increase over last week. So progressions all around here. This felt really solid. Great leg day, honestly. It felt kind of weird because I wasn't tracking things in my app normally, and I am like an absolute creature of habit. So if something is a little bit off for me, it just kind of throws me off. But looking back on the session and watching it back, and also just looking at the log, it feels awesome. This was a great day. So yeah, not a whole lot more to say about this session, guys. I'm just going to let this last set of the toe press play out here. And today I will be hitting, what am I hitting today? Back and shoulders, and then rest day on Sunday. So you guys will see the back and shoulder session coming up on Sunday. And until then, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, give me all that great stuff that I like to see if you like the content, and take it easy.